In recent years, India has witnessed a growing concern over the treatment of Bengali-speaking citizens residing and working in states beyond their traditional homelands. As millions of people migrate across state borders in search of work, opportunity, or a better life, the complexities of identity, language, and documentation become increasingly pronounced. For Bengali-speaking individuals originally hailing from states like West Bengal, Assam, and Tripura, these complexities have, at times, led to harrowing experiences of mistaken identity, wrongful detention, and even deportation. The root of this issue lies in the long-standing history of migration between India and Bangladesh. The porous borders and historical ties between these regions have facilitated the movement of people for generations. However, the fear of undocumented immigration, particularly from Bangladesh, has permeated the political and social fabric of states like Assam, West Bengal, and even those farther afield, such as Gujarat and Maharashtra. This fear, heightened by periodic identity verification drives and evolving citizenship laws, has sometimes resulted in the profiling of Bengali speakers, especially Muslims, under suspicion of being illegal immigrants. The process often unfolds in a distressingly familiar pattern. Migrant workers, often from impoverished backgrounds and lacking robust identity documentation, are subjected to scrutiny by local authorities. Sometimes, it is a mere language difference that triggers suspicion. In diverse urban centers like Mumbai or Ahmedabad, the Bengali language can serve as an unintentional marker, setting these individuals apart from the local Marathi, Hindi, or Gujarati-speaking populations. When routine checks or crackdowns occur, these workers find themselves at a disadvantage, unable to immediately produce the required documents, or worse, not possessing them at all due to the chaotic nature of internal migration in India. In some cases, this lack of paperwork has led to detentions. There are well-documented incidents where entire families have been arrested and held in detention centers, sometimes for months. The psychological and social toll is immense. Children may be separated from their parents and placed in institutional care while families navigate the labyrinthine legal process required to prove their Indian citizenship. The financial burden of securing legal representation, gathering documentation from distant home villages, and enduring prolonged legal battles can be devastating for families living on the margins. One particularly poignant case involved a Bengali Hindu family from Burdwan, West Bengal, who were detained in Bengaluru on suspicion of being undocumented immigrants. Despite presenting various forms of identification, they spent 10 months in detention before being granted bail. Their plight underscores the difficulties faced by those who, despite being legitimate Indian citizens, find themselves caught in the crosshairs of administrative zeal or oversight. The broader legal and political context further complicates matters. The implementation of the National Register of Citizens, NRC in Assam, a process intended to identify undocumented immigrants, has left millions of residents, many of them Bengali-speaking, in a precarious position. The burden of proof rests on individuals to establish their citizenship, often requiring documents that may be decades old or simply unavailable due to poverty, displacement, or illiteracy. The fear of exclusion from the NRC list and the potential consequences of statelessness has sown deep anxiety in affected communities. Adding another layer to this situation is the Citizenship Amendment Act, CCAA, which expedites citizenship for non-Muslim refugees from neighboring countries but excludes Muslims, thereby raising concerns of discrimination and deepening the sense of insecurity among Bengali-speaking Muslims in particular. Reports have surfaced of Bengali-speaking Muslims being detained and, in some cases, deported to Bangladesh without thorough verification, fueling allegations of religious and linguistic profiling. When Indian citizens are mistakenly deported, the law is clear. Such deportations are illegal, and the government is obliged to correct these errors. There have been instances where, after protracted legal intervention and the presentation of additional evidence, deported individuals have been brought back to India. However, the process is rarely swift or simple. The trauma of separation, the disruption of lives and livelihoods, and the lingering stigma of having been labeled an illegal immigrant leave lasting scars. These episodes are not merely administrative mishaps, they speak to deeper issues of identity, belonging, and the functioning of the state's bureaucratic machinery. For many Bengali-speaking citizens, the experience has been one of alienation and vulnerability. The lack of a standardized, transparent, and humane verification process has led to arbitrary and inconsistent decisions, eroding trust in institutions and the rule of law. Human rights organizations and legal advocacy groups have repeatedly drawn attention to these injustices. They argue that the solution lies in reforming verification procedures, ensuring due process, and providing adequate legal aid to those accused of being foreigners. They also stress the importance of recognizing the humanity and dignity of every individual, regardless of language, religion, or place of origin. The situation has prompted broader societal questions as well. How does a nation as diverse as India ensure that internal migrants are not rendered second-class citizens in their own country? What safeguards are needed to protect the rights of linguistic and religious minorities? And perhaps most fundamentally, how does the state balance legitimate concerns about undocumented immigration with the imperative to treat all residents with fairness and compassion? In summary, the ordeal faced by Bengali-speaking Indian citizens wrongly identified as illegal immigrants is a stark reminder of the challenges inherent in managing migration, identity, and citizenship in a vast and diverse country. While the authorities have, in many cases, rectified wrongful deportations, the path to justice is often long and fraught with hardship. The need for systemic reform is urgent, not only to prevent future miscarriages of justice, but also to reaffirm the principles of inclusion and equality that lie at the heart of the Indian Constitution. The stories of those affected serve as a call to action, urging policymakers, administrators, and society at large to build a system where no one is unjustly uprooted from the place they call home.